Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of our Daily Word on a Friday night at the river. I hope you guys are doing well. It's been a long week here for me, but I'm excited to be back with you guys. We are going to be talking about a subject tonight that really is not easy. And it's something that happened to me about a month ago. Actually, a question was asked of me by a certain couple of people, and it was a hard question for me at the time. And I'm going to talk to you about why it was so hard. I hope that at the end of this, this will bless you to understand just sometimes why this issue is so hard. But I want to preface that by saying so many times people ask us stuff and we don't know why we react the way we do. Why do we get angry when one person says something to us or it seems to be out of the blue? And I've learned for myself that a lot of times that anger or that frustration or that irritation comes from something inside of me that's not settled. So it's really something I'm struggling with. Maybe I'm having a hard time putting my finger on it. And so we're going to talk about that. I'm going to share with you an experience that I had and kind of how I worked through it, because I think that's helpful too, to help people to see how you work through some of those hard emotions, how we can do that biblically. And maybe it'll give you perspective on this. It surely gave me a perspective on where I was at that moment and even to some degree currently. And so about a month ago, I actually dated this entry. For you guys that don't know, I do a lot of journaling. I'm not a great writer, but I journal because early in my recovery history, I realized very quickly that one reason why I struggled with my substance was trying to deal with emotions and thoughts and beliefs and all those things. And so one of the things that was recommended to me early on from somebody is to do something called truth journaling. But it is a form of journaling where you just kind of type out or you write or you speak out what it is that you're feeling, and you go back and kind of evaluate that. So I found myself about a month ago, like I said, doing that. And I'm going to share with you guys some of my thoughts that day, some of the things God started dropping in my spirit after that, and kind of helped me to reframe that. So I wrote on here August the 12th. Yesterday I was asked the question, what are you doing? At first I was offended that this person asked this question of me because I wanted to yell, don't you see what I'm doing? But I didn't. I refrained myself and silently let the question go by me. See, I know God is good and I'm maturing, but I began to think about what it is that I'm doing. The last few months of my life, I've been a lot of doing, but a very little reward. And you guys, it's what it seems like. It seems like I was doing a whole lot and not getting a lot back for what I was doing. I was doing more personal study, more prayer, more praise, more worship. I was frustrated. I've been frustrated. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's just, there's just seasons of frustration. And the reason why I was frustrated is because what God continued to show me. And I wrote in here, there's been lots of study and prayer. And those things have led to personal growth. You guys, I'm not the same person I was 6 months ago. I've forced myself to grow in areas. I've had to let go of some thoughts and some beliefs. But it seemed as though my situation was not moving. And sometimes it seems as though my situation is actually regressing and not getting better. Sometimes it seems worse. And some days that's just where it is. I'm in the season of my life where I think I'm making a lot of forward progress, and then it seems like I'm taking 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. And you guys, that can be a very frustrating time in our lives. And I wrote in here, it doesn't look like I'm doing much on the outside. However, the struggle has been great. So I kept pondering the question. I then wrote, as I thought about it, I began to realize that I'm in a season of my life where I'm no longer where I was, but I'm also not where I'm going to be. I find myself in a place called waiting on God to restore things in my life, waiting on God to tell me that it's okay to move, waiting on God to fulfill His promises to me, waiting on the wounds of a tumultuous past to heal, waiting on Him to develop people, places, and situations, waiting to see where He will lead me next. But all around me, I know that I'm waiting. The trouble with waiting is that from the outside, it looks as though there is no movement, but on the inside, my thoughts, feelings, and fears are spinning constantly. Have you guys ever been there? I'm not good at waiting. I'm the first person to volunteer for anything. As a matter of fact, I have to be careful, and I am warned continuously not to overcommit. I'm the first to run into the fray, the first to say yes, and the first to lend a helping hand. I know that God has given me a gift of leadership, encouraging, and teaching, but what am I supposed to do when He sits me on the sidelines and He tells me to wait? I know that God told people in the Bible to wait. He told Noah to build a ship that took 120 years, and people were constantly questioning Him and asking Him, "What are you doing? You're crazy. You're just drunk. What are you doing, Noah? What are you building?" They had never seen an ark before. He promised Moses a son, but did not allow that to occur until he and his wife were well past their childbearing years. He sent a prophet to tell David that he would be king, but then he sent him into a cave to hide from Saul. He put Esther in a position beside the king, but did not use her until he had not called her for 30 days, and she was waiting. He put Jonah in the belly of a whale for 3 days, and Lazarus died, and Mary and Martha had to wait. Jesus purposely did that. And then after the death of Jesus, his disciples were distraught, and they waited. And then when he did reappear, he told them to go wait some more. You see, I know the Bible is full of people and full of promises, but there have been a lot of times that he told them to wait. It seems that after a promise, sometimes there's an incubation period where you enter a season of waiting. And I will tell you, when that happens, for most of us during the season of waiting, a battle actually begins in our mind. We battle emotions, fears, our own thoughts, and sometimes even our own faith or the lack thereof. So while it may appear that I'm doing nothing on the outside, I'm fighting doubts, fears, shame, guilt, condemnation, trauma, lies, and boredom. So on the outside, I'm not moving, but on the inside, the war wages. I will depend on the Lord because my word says, "For those that wait upon the Lord, they will renew their strength." It says you don't wait for something without a sense of expectation. We wait for the birth of a new baby, and we wait for our turn at a task, and we wait for our turn in line. And sometimes we wait for something to end and then something to begin, but there's always a sense of urgency and a sense of expectation when we're waiting. The problem with waiting is this: we get bored, frustrated, tired, and lonely, and yet He says to wait. We ask Him how long, how far, how much will this cost us, and yet He says wait. I've been there. Have you been there? I'm there now, and it's not a fun place to be, but this is what His word says to me. Be strong and brave and wait for the Lord's help. The Lord watches over His followers, those who wait on Him to show His faithful love. So He will wait for the Lord. He helps us and protects us. Whoever waits on my door and listens for me will be blessed. It is good to wait quietly for the Lord to save them. I will stand like a guard and watch. I will wait to see what the Lord will say to me. I will wait and learn how He answers my questions. Trust in the Lord and wait quietly for His help. I am waiting for the Lord to help me. My soul waits for Him, and I trust what He says. You guys, those are all scriptures about waiting. I will say to you, waiting is hard. It's one of the hardest things I think I have to do because I'm not used to just sitting by and doing nothing. And yet sometimes there's a season in our life when God says you have to wait. You have to wait for me to develop those things. You have to wait. I've heard you. I've heard your prayers. I hear you. If you're like me, though, you keep petitioning Him and say, "God, give me, give me, give me." And I have faith it's coming. But I do know sometimes He asks me to wait, just like He asked all those people in the Bible to wait. And so I wanted to share this with you guys because maybe there's somebody that will see this today, tomorrow, 6 months from now, and God has put you in a position of waiting. I want to warn you the same thing that I have to warn myself. Don't get bored. Don't get frustrated. Don't get depressed. Don't think, "I can't do this." We're going to think those things. But you guys, faith is what helps us to go to that next step. I taught a lesson a couple weeks ago on Peter and about courage. And Peter had courage, but he lacked faith. And so when he jumped out of that boat onto the water, he did fine at first. But you guys, the part about waiting, it is keeping our eyes on Christ and making sure that our eyes are fixed to Him and what He's called us to and holding on to those promises. Can I tell you something? The war that has waged in my head to hold on to what God has told me and promised me has been great. And so I want to encourage you the way that I've been encouraged. Don't give up. Keep waiting. Because even though from the outside it seems like you're not moving, there's so much that's happening. God is moving things into alignment. He is putting us in places. He's changing things within us so that we will be ready for that next season in our lives. That's what waiting is about. You guys, we know that in the natural, we put a seed into the ground and then we have to wait. And you guys, as we sit by and we watch, waiting for it to come out of the ground, sometimes that's the hardest time. I would encourage you, though, while you're waiting, use that time. Use that time to rest. Use that time to grow yourself, to find something different. You guys, occupy your things and your time while you're waiting with good things. It'll be worth it. I tell myself all the time, this waiting period is just a season. It will end. And when I'm done waiting, I want to be stronger on the other side so that when God brings me what I am promised, I will be ready to move forward. I hope this helps you guys. And I hope you guys are having a great day. So we will see you again.